So I'm going to show you now how to change quadratic from standard form into the vertex form. We are going to use the completing the square method. I explained the beginning part of completing the square in a separate video, so if you would like to see how it is look like using diagram, please check it out. Recall standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c, and vertex form is ax minus h squared plus k. Let's get straight into the example number 1. X squared plus 6x plus 10. This is a standard form. We're going to change this to vertex form. And again, we're going to use the method of completing the square. Based on that standard form, A is 1, B is 6, and C is 10. First thing we're going to do, we are going to separate the C. By the way, when you watch the video, you can pause it all the time if you need to, and also you can speed up the speed of the video if you want, yeah, because I'm gonna try to explain this clearly, so it's a little bit probably slow for some people. Okay, when we separate the C, then the expression will become x squared plus 6x, and we're going to give space to complete the square, and 10, we're separating it, will be outside the parentheses. And then after that, we're going to complete the square. How? Based on the other lesson, we know to complete the square, we just use the b divided by 2, and then we square it. So b is 6 divided by 2 is 3, and we're going to square it, equals to 9. So now the expression will become x squared plus 6x plus 9, and then outside the parentheses plus 10. But be careful, because we're adding 9, we're actually changing the original expression, x squared plus 6x plus 10, now plus 9. So we cannot do that. We need to keep the original problem, I'm going to call it problem or expression, the same. How? We have to cancel adding 9. So in this case, we're subtracting 9, which is behind the 10. So that's why it's 10 minus 9. And then we factor out x squared plus 6x plus 9. What are the factors of 9 that adds up to 6? Is 3 and 3. So it becomes x plus 3 times x plus 3 plus 1. We're simplifying it, and it turns into x plus 3 squared plus 1. That's, voila, is the vertex form, or ax minus h squared plus k. A is 1, h is negative 3, which is the opposite, and then k is 1. Because that's vertex form, of course, we should be able to determine the vertex. The vertex is just the hk, so the coordinate of the vertex is negative 3, positive 1. I added an assignment to you guys to find the y-intercept. How do we find y-intercept? We know y-intercept, x is always 0, so we can substitute x into the vertex form. So that becomes 0 plus 3 square. So it's going to be 3 squared is 9 plus 1 is 10. So y-intercept is 0, 10. Or we can just use the standard form. We know that the c part of the standard form is always the y-intercept. So 10 on the standard form is the y-intercept. Okay, so now example number 2. It will be slightly different, but still similar. Watch out, make sure you watch this until finish, yeah? Example number 2. 4x squared plus 24x plus 50. This is again standard form. We're going to try to change this into vertex form. Again, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to separate c. In this case, it's 50. So I'm going to rewrite it by separating the c. It will become 4x squared plus 24x. And then we're going to give space to complete the square. And then 50 will be outside. Okay, now, before we find the number to complete the square, please look at this two coefficient from these two terms. 4 and 24, they have actually a share factor. We have to pull out the share factor, so undistribute it. So in this case, the shared factor is 4. So I'm going to pull out 4. And then what's left is just going to be x squared. And then 24 divided by 4 is 6x. Again, we're going to give space to complete the square, plus 50. And then from here, we're going to complete the square, b6. So to complete the square, we will do b over 2 square. It's going to be equals to 6 over 2 square equals to 3 squared equals to 9. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it so it will look like this. 4x squared plus 6x plus 9, okay, plus 50. This is the part, be careful, we add 9 over here. So we have to cancel it, remember, because we want to keep the original problem, which is over here, 4x squared plus 24x plus 50, the same thing. But if we add 9 over here, we're actually adding a new number on this problem. And now we have to cancel that. However, when we're adding 9 over here, when there is a number in front of the parentheses, we actually not just adding 9. Keep in mind, this coefficient in front of the parentheses serve as a number that, you know, as we need to distribute this for with everything inside the parentheses. So this makes adding 9 inside the parentheses actually is not just 9, but actually we're adding 4 times 9, which is positive 36. So we need to cancel adding 36 by minusing 36 over here. Okay, so now from here it will look like something like this. 4x squared plus 6x plus 9. 50 minus 36 is positive 14. Again, we need to factor this. What are the factors of 9 that adds up to 6? Is 3 and 3. So this will turn into something like this. 4x plus 3 times x plus 3 plus 14. Rewrite this. It will be 4x plus 3 squared plus 14. Okay, this is, now we got the vertex form, which is going to be a x minus h squared plus k. Looking at this, we know that a equals 4, b equals negative 3 is the opposite, and then k is 14. So vertex, again, will be h and k, the coordinate, which is going to be h is negative 3 and k is 14. So that's the coordinate of the vertex. If you want to find the y-intercept, again, you can set up x equals 0 and substitute 0 into here to find the y-intercept. Or the easiest way, because you already have the standard form up here, right? So the y-intercept is this c, positive 50. So in this case, the y-intercept coordinate will be 0 for x and then 50. So that's how we change against standard form into vertex form using completing the square.